We got to finish up though with some UFC Fight Night 246 talk. Let's do a quick preview of some big fights happening. Brandon Moreno is back. He didn't retire. He just took time off, and he fights Amir Albazi, who also took some time off, but because of some injuries, the spine, the neck, serious stuff. Does the winner get a title shot, Dan, of this fight? Because obviously we have Alexander Pantoja against Kaya Sakura, but one of them's they're gonna need to face somebody at the end of that fight. So what do you think? How big is this fight coming up here?
Probably. It's probably bigger than it's given credit for, and I'm usually a flyweight supporter. I just want to say real quick, you could see my preview for that. I'll cut my answer short. You can see my preview for that. I'm a junkie. I just want to say real quick, Don Davis reminds me of like that Steve Buscemi meme with the skateboard and the backwards hat. It's like, how do you do, you fellow kids? And I just want to also say, like, we need to be tracking. I'm an anti-stat guy because they're just so freaking stupid, and stat bros are the worst, especially in this sport. But my favorite stat is Dana White's made up stats, and it's just like, Danny, we actually are better than Real Madrid. You misquoted me. We are number one amongst one-legged Dominican diabetics. Power slap is number one. Like, he just finds like the most obscure like section. He's like, we're also number one. Again, I don't even want to. I'm getting myself into trouble, but yeah, it's my favorite things. My favorite stats.
All right, Goes. Do you think the winner of this fight? Maybe we should focus more on our Amir Albazi, right? Because we do want some fresh matchups, and Moreno Pantoja has been done. Does he deserve a shot if he can get past the former champ?
Yeah, I think he can, but like a lot of it has to do with how the fight plays out, right? Like that seems to be that location, health, all those things play a big role in this. But I think if Albazi goes out there and has a great performance against Moreno, yeah, I think he could be one of those guys that definitely gets talked about.
All right. Danny Segura, what is your prediction for this fight? Early lean. I don't know if you turned in your snap picks or not. I haven't seen, but we know Dan will have a full breakdown at the end. But how about you here early in the week? What are you liking?
I haven't submitted my prediction yet, but I think I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno. I really do think at his best, firing at all cylinders, he is the best flyweight today. I do believe him when he was experiencing all the fatigue from the sport, this and that. I mean, representing Mexico and being the face of Mexican MMA, it's a heavy crown, and I feel like the break really did serve them quite well. So I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno here. But look, that Amir Albazi fight is a tough one.
Mm-hmm. Let's stick with the flyweight division in women's MMA. Rose Namajunas fights Erin Blanchfield in the co-main event. Does the winner get a title shot, Goes? And who has the better chance at beating Valentina Shevchenko of the two?
I'm going to say probably Rose. I think, see, the thing is, she's at this point in her career where sometimes we look at fighters when we feel like they just age overnight. That kind of has happened a few times with Rose, and then she bounces back. I think her style, the fact that she's trained with Shevchenko before in the past, maybe she would have a better shot. I feel like Blanchfield's still improving. I think she still has a little bit of ways to go. I think she's tough already, but I do think she's going to get better. But I would have to lean towards Rose getting that.
Blanchfield definitely needs a plan B, because when she couldn't get Fiorot down, it was just not good. How about you, Dan Tom? This is a big fight in that division. Both lost to Manon Fiorot, and Manon Fiorot is next for Valentina Shevchenko. But could the winner of this fight rebound themselves and put themselves in a title shot? Rose carries a big name, former champ at strawweight. She's a draw, right? And then Erin Blanchfield is kind of a buzzsaw minus the Manon Fiorot fight.
Again, real similar pros and cons to the main event, right? Like, this is another flyweight fight, by the way, right? Women's, where it's really important for the division, and all those things you guys said are true, but it's ultimately a really tough fight that's probably going to go to decision. It's going to be tough to call prior. It's going to be tough to adjudicate after. And I don't know it's going to do much for stock. And I don't know it's going to do much for Canada, who, by the way, Canada is like the Dan Ige of like continents, right? Like, they've been owed since UFC 149. Where is that payback, Dana? All we've gotten is like really crappy cards with like non-Canadians that you keep giving them. So yeah, hearts out to you, Canada.
All right. And Danny Segura, how about you, man? Who do you like in this fight, and who's got something for Shevchenko if Shevchenko hangs on to her belt?
That answer is Namajunas and Namajunas. It could change, but as of now, based on what we've seen, I do think the Namajunas has the more tools, and I think she can put on an interesting fight for Shevchenko. So I'm going to go with her. But Namajunas, as Go said, she's a fighter that's been around for some time, so I don't expect her to change a whole lot. I expect her to be Rose Namajunas, whereas Blanchfield, there is a lot of room for improvement. So maybe she shows new tools enough to beat Rose Namajunas, enough to maybe start, having doubts about if Shevchenko is going to keep her crown for her next fight. Obviously, if she were to beat Manon Fiorot. So more upside, Blanchfield, but as of now, from the information that we have, I'm going to go with Namajunas for both those answers.